Today we're going to be making the Butterick B6318, and I have a lavender fabric that I have been holding on to since before Easter, so I'm finally going to get my Easter dress made. Let's get going. All the prep work's done, all of our darts are done, and now it's time to sew this thing together. It kind of looks like a big mound of fabric right now, but overall it's super simple. The directions, I don't think there are more than 10 steps. So this is the skirt, obviously, and I have gathered the front of it already just because it's got, the gathering goes all the way across on this one, so I don't want that in the seam. And I'm gonna put my pockets in right here, so once I get back to my sewing table, I'll stick my pockets in there. But the back here, I'm going to gather that up once I get the side seams done. And then this is the bodice top. So this is just going to go right onto the top of here. And the sashes, so there's two sashes, they're going to go down this center back seam. So I will attach those once I get this sewn together. So we'll go do that and then go on to the next step. Next step I'm going to do is put my pockets into my skirt. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your pieces, you've got 4 pocket pieces, and you are going to insert them into the skirt. Well, I'm going to insert them into the skirt where I want them. Now it kind of seems a little counterproductive to do it like this, like your brain doesn't want you to put it in this way, but you have to have your seams lined up and your pocket goes out onto the right side of the fabric. So let me sew this up and I will explain to you what I mean. So first things first, and that is that I like a 1/2 inch hem on these pockets, and I start inside of the serging. Now the reason for that is because when I do the rest of the skirt, it's all going to come together smoothly, so I'll show you that. And back to that. Okay, and just stop just short of the serging. Hopefully my hand's not in the way, probably is. Okay, there's one side. Now do the corresponding side. You can find it in all your fabric. Okay, inside of the serging. Okay, so 2 pocket pieces. Now, bring the pocket pieces out. So here's the right side of your fabric, so there you go. So you have a finished edge for the opening of your pocket. So now you're gonna just match up your pocket pieces. You can see I have my pocket pieces lined up. Okay, so here, this is the right side of the fabric. This is the inside, so we're doing the seams. So here's the top of the skirt. So I'm going to start here and then I'm going to sew all the way around the pocket, and I'm going to come back down here. I'll reinforce this corner here and then finish up this side seam for the skirt. Alright, so next up is to fit this skirt in, and pretty much what I am doing here is I'm just going to tell you how I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to turn this off because it's just going to be pretty tedious. So these are the ends. So I have pinned the end, and then I pin where there is a seam through the rest of the skirt. So basically I'm going to pin it in 4 places. So where there are seams, and then the ends, and then I'm just going to ease it in for the rest of the way, because now I have to do all of my gathering and then pin that down and then of course sew it together. On day 2, I'm going to finish this up today. Here's what it looks like so far. Meanwhile, you can see everything hiding in the background in my sewing room. So, here's the back. So, here's what's left. I have to put in a zipper, which I'm going to do. The pattern calls for a lap zipper, so I think I'm going to do that. I have an invisible zipper that I bought for it, but we'll see. I'm really not sure about these ties. I was thinking about it last night and might come up with an alternative. I'm going to keep them on there, but as far as it being tied in the back, not sure about that. So, zipper, I have to do the hem on my sleeves and then do the hem on my skirt, and then it should be done. So let's get going. Here's my zipper. So you can see it's an invisible zipper. So basically how I'm gonna do this is so there's a couple methods for putting zippers in, And the one that I tend to go to the most is where basically, so here's the outside of the dress. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the entire back together doing a long basting stitch. And so here's my facing, and then here's the start of the dress. So I'll do a long basting stitch through here, and that way, the nice part about doing it like that is you get to match up all of your seam lines. So my waist seam line, presumably, when I do this, is going to match up perfectly, and if I can just find it in all of this fabric. So here's my waist zipper, or I'm sorry, my waist seam. Here's my other waist seam. So I can match these up. So, you know, when you see the dress turned right side out, it's going to match up perfectly. That's the idea. So I think that's how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll pin it all together, and then I'll turn the camera back on while I'm sewing it so you can see that part. Here's the idea. So this seam has been pressed out now. So now it's laying flat. And now I am going to take my zipper. You can do this a couple different ways. I'm going to use pins today, but you can actually use one of the methods that I've seen that I like a lot is using painter's tape, because it does perforate. When you sew through it, it perforates the tape, so it makes it easier to take it out. But today I'm just going to use pins because I don't think I have any painter's tape left. So I'm going to pin it in place. Basically the teeth are going to be right over top of the center seam here, and then I am going to sew this down, and I probably will go all the way down with that so that it has a nice opening. And then I will take a seam ripper on the right side of the fabric, and I will just rip down to the bottom of the zipper, and then my zipper will be in. And then all we will have left to do is the hat. Last step. So I have gone ahead. You can see there's a little unevenness here, but we're gonna fix that with our hem. I've gone ahead and I have pressed up my hem. So I have my allowance here. I am going to fold it over again so that I have a nice clean looking hem on the inside, and I wore it around for a little bit just to kind of get an idea of, you know, the length and stuff like that. So I have already pressed my hem and also my sleeves. I'm going to hem those. I've already pressed them as well. So I think I will also fold these up. They're a little bit long for what I want from this dress. But I have finished my zipper and done all of the changes on that I want to do. Of course, I'm going to turn all this inside out so that I can get a better shot. But I am going to go ahead and sew this up, and this project will be done. So here is my finished project. You can see I have it on, and of course I just showed you a video of the full size. So overall, super simple to make, and I would definitely make this one again. Just a couple of notes. I did get a question recently about the pattern sizing on a project that I completed not too long ago. So I wanted to make notes of that in my videos from now on. I cut my pattern sizes based off of what the finished measurements are listed as on the pattern pieces themselves. So when you open up your pattern, you will see that generally on, a lot of times it's on a bodice piece, but sometimes it is on a skirt piece. It will tell you what your finished measurements are, and then depending on who the maker is, they will actually list what the easement is. So this is a Butterick pattern. They don't list easement, but I can tell you that it is 4.5 inches. And so, you know, a pretty decent amount of easement in the pattern piece. So I cut my pieces based off of what the finished measurements call for. That way I can, you know, I can incorporate my darts. I don't have to worry about, you know, whether or not I'm going to be able to get it on when I have cut my piece and actually sewn it up. So just for future reference, if you are interested in making this pattern, know that that is how I make my specific projects. I go off of that measurement that's printed on the pattern piece, not what is listed on the envelope, because there is going to be a difference. So a couple things I would do differently in the future. The sash length is too short. I would definitely advise pinning your sash on. Do a mock-up. Even if you do it in paper, you can, you know, pin them together or clip them together with a binder clip and then wrap it around yourself and see if you could actually tie it off the way that it's supposed to be, because it's attached at the back where the zipper is, and then it's supposed to wrap all the way around you and then be able to tie off in the back. I can't do that. So I am just using my sash as just a front tying bow, which it's not a big deal, you know, it doesn't look exactly the way that the pattern calls for, but, you know, I don't feel like it takes away from the end project itself. The arms are a little tight. You can see, you know, mine are a little tight, and again, I mean, that's cutting a pattern piece that I feel like is a little bigger than what I would have cut if I had gone off of the envelope. So that's something to think about. The gathering in the skirt, I would have done the entire skirt gathered. I did what the pattern suggested. So the side backs are on the side here. I'd advised to stop short of the side seam in the back. So I feel like there's kind of a lot of gathering at the very back of the skirt. And, you know, if you already are pretty full in that area, you don't necessarily want to be adding a ton more fullness. So I do feel like it kind of has a extra look to it, but you know, it's fine. It's the first time I've made this, so these are just things that I'm learning as I've made this for the, you know, initial trial. So overall, not bad, not a lot of changes that I would make, and I would definitely make it again. I did add pockets, and the pockets are amazing. I'm not sure why I haven't done that in every single project that I have done up until this point, but now I will. Okay, so at this point in the video, I am going to be wrapping up the project, and I wanted to make one quick announcement for any of you who are still watching, that I will be doing some extras on my website here pretty soon. So I'm going to be incorporating some additional videos and tutorials and some other things that I think for those of you who are interested in learning a little bit more about sewing vintage styles or want to have a little bit more help with the patterns that I have featured so far, that's going to be for you. So stay tuned for that, and I will be making an announcement both on here and on my Instagram and Facebook feed. So if you follow me there, then I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time.